What's going on, everyone? Today we are taking a look at the HiPeak Bona, which is a folding fat tire e-bike. Taking a look at the specs, this has a 750 watt motor, a 48 volt 15 amp hour battery, 20x4 fat tires, a 7-speed Shimano shifter, mechanical disc brakes, and a front fork suspension. Most e-bike assemblies are pretty similar, so I will not be covering that in this video, but if you would like to see how this bike is assembled, I've attached the link to the official HiPeak assembly video in the description below. So before we start going over the bike, I want to say that this is a very affordable bike and definitely one of the best deals out there. At the time of making this video, this bike is actually on sale for $899. What's better is you can get this bike plus a second battery for a total of only about $1,100. A bike with 30 amp hours of power for $1,100 is just an insane deal, and I can almost guarantee you aren't going to find a bike with better range for that price. Alright, so taking a look at the bike, this is definitely a very unique bike. This one I have here is in yellow with some red accents, and unfortunately after my son pointing it out, I now think of Ronald McDonald every time I see this bike. That aside, it's definitely a nice looking bike, and beside this color, the bike also comes in white or blue. The one I have here is the step over version, but this bike also comes in a step through design as well. So coming to the front, this bike does include an integrated headlight. It doesn't look like anything fancy, but it should be more than enough to get the job done if you do ride at night. Coming to the bars, you have your controller, and while it's not a color one, it's still plenty bright and easy to read any information you need. So the battery on this bike is mounted right behind the seat. You have a nice little handle on the battery, and there's plenty of room around it, which makes it very easy to install or remove as well. Coming to the back, you have a built-in tail light which lights up when you brake. Lastly, you have a rear rack with a maximum carrying capacity of 55 pounds. Alright, so checking the rolling resistance on this bike, it's not the best, but it's also not the worst either. If you're on a low gear, you can pedal this bike fairly easy, especially on 1 through 3. But once you step above 4, that's where it gets a little difficult. All right, so off the bat, one thing I noticed, this bike has a very good amount of torque. As soon as you push that throttle, you feel it really push you through. Some of these bikes, they start real gradually, which is okay too. Sometimes they're programmed that way, but sometimes the motor is just weak. But this one, you push it and you start flying. So I definitely like that. All right, bars felt a little low. Go ahead and raise these up a bit. I'm usually not a fan of these bars too much, but since they're adjustable, it's not too bad. It's pretty comfortable. Kind of feels like a scooter. It's like a real chill, relaxed arm position. So I don't hate it, I don't love it. It's just all right. All right, so let's go ahead and try out pedal assist 1. It looks like about 9 miles per hour. Pedal assist 2, well, it looks like it's still getting about 9 miles per hour, so this might be tuned a little wrong. All right, pedal assist 3 is kicking up a bit. Looks like about 10, 11. Right now I'm going uphill, so I'm betting it's probably gonna be about 11 once we get on flat terrain. Yeah, pedal assist 3 about 10.8, 10.9. Pedal assist 4. Oh, this bike kicks you in. It's not the smoothest bike, but it got a lot of torque. As soon as you switch at that level, you feel the whole bike kind of jolt forward. Pedal assist 4, looks like we're getting about 15 miles per hour with casual pedaling. All right, pedal assist 5. Pedal assist 5, decent pedaling, about 19 to 19.5. Well, I guess that kid likes the bike. He says sick bike. So yeah, pedal assist 5. It doesn't look like it wants to let me go past 20. But what's cool is it really does have a good amount of resistance. I don't feel like I'm pedaling like a hamster. So that's good. A lot of these bikes, once you go past 16 or so, you start pedaling like no tomorrow and you lose resistance. But this one at 19, I still have a lot of connection with the bike. All right, let's go ahead and try this out, throttle only. All right, went to 21, and then I felt it let up. So it is limited. I did look at the screen earlier, but It's the kind that says P1, P2, P3s, a bunch of like different letters, and I don't really know what does what, so I don't want to mess with it. But I'm sure if you unlock this bike, you can probably get it to go close to that 28 miles per hour mark, as it is a 750 watt. Maybe I'll reach out to the company or check in the manual. Maybe it says in there how to unlock it. I'm sure there's a way, but like I said, I still want to mess with it and change the wrong thing and have some issues. All right, let's go ahead and try out these brakes. Not the best brakes. Despite pushing the brakes pretty hard, I can't get the back tire to skid. I mean, it does stop me nice and smoothly, but it doesn't grab enough to skid that back wheel or any of the wheels on the bike. Yeah, it stops you no problem, but an emergency stop is gonna take a little longer as it doesn't have the power to lock up the wheels. They are mechanical brakes, but yeah, not the best ones. Don't get me wrong, they're adequate. They're good enough to stop you on regular riding. The only part they might cause an issue is if you're in an emergency situation where you really need to slam on those brakes and do a sudden stop. But beside that, they should get the job done. So yeah, so this is a 15 amp hour bike, but this one, I think with both batteries, it comes out to about, I don't remember exactly now, but it's somewhere around 1300, which is a pretty insane value for a bike with that much battery power. 30 amp hours, you're gonna be able to go quite the distance. Because I regularly ride a bike that's 14 amp hours, and I put many miles on that bike as it was my first e-bike. And on that one, with casual pedaling, I can usually get about 30 miles. If I'm going slowly, I can get closer to 40. So with two batteries, you're gonna get 60 to 80 miles. That may not sound like a lot to some of you, but when you actually ride 60 to 80 miles, that's a lot of distance. You're gonna be out there for 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6 hours easily. So you would never need more than 30 amp hours. I mean, even if you're gunning it full speed the entire time, you're still gonna get at least 20 to 30 miles out of both batteries. Yeah, so the bike is a bit jerky. I don't know if it came out on camera right now, but right now I had it on pedal assist 5 and I'll slow down. And like I said earlier, this bike has a lot of torque. It just kind of delivers raw power. But I was kind of coasting slowly and pedal assist 5 was still on, and it kind of just like threw me forward. And it was kind of a unexpected jolt that I don't usually get with bikes. So definitely something to be aware of. Like a lot of other bikes, you have this little rinky-dinky bell. Not really a fan of these. Honestly, I feel like if it's an e-bike, it should have like an electronic bell, or at least something that sounds a little better. This always reminds me of the little girl bikes with the little ribbons hanging off the handles. But I mean, it gets the job done, but that's definitely something I would replace. Yeah, so overall, this isn't the best bike, but when you consider the price, you know, you shouldn't expect that. I think without the second battery, it's only like 900 bucks or 1,000 bucks, something like that, which is a very good price for a bike like this. Usually when you're in a $1,000 range, you get these garbage, no-name bikes that look like something off of AliExpress, just like a cheap Walmart frame with a battery tossed on it, like a conversion kit. But this looks like a pretty good e-bike, so like I said, while it's not the best bike for 1,000 bucks, it's definitely a great bike when you put it in that price category. So if you're looking for a great introduction bike, this is definitely a good option to consider, especially if you're gonna get it with two batteries. And hands down, if you're looking for a budget bike, definitely get this with the second battery. You'll be set. You'll be pretty happy with it. All right, well, that about wraps up this video. As usual, if you have any questions at all, feel free to drop me a comment. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.